What's up? Need to tell you something real quick. I learned this a long time ago and it changed my entire life. I hope you're ready for it. Whatever it is that you're building, you could build it better if you get better with words. I'm going to say that one more time. I want to make sure you heard exactly what I just said. Whatever it is that you're building, maybe you're building a company, maybe you're building a brand, maybe you're building a marriage, maybe you're building a parental relationship, maybe you're building a professional relationship. I don't know what you're building, but I will tell you this. Whatever it is that you're building, you could build it better if you got better with words. I am telling you, the skill of speaking is probably one of the most underrated skills in existence. You know, Warren Buffett said it's the most important skill you can actually develop. You know, I call it a meta skill. Darius, what does that mean? A meta skill. Like, so you got skills, right? Which are like competencies, which are like learned abilities. And then you got these meta skills. And a meta skill is like I call it a catalytic skill. Darius, what's that? It's when you learn this skill, it makes learning other skills easier. It's like the domino. Like if you like this, I want you to check out this image of dominoes, right? And dominoes lined up. Let's say one domino falls, then the entire row falls. Well, that meta skill is the one domino. It's like, man, if I get this thing right, I get a lot of other things right. And that's what speaking is. That's what communication is. It's a meta skill. It's that one domino. Do you know if you get better with words, you get better in your relationship? Like, one of the avenues to intimacy, like this emotional connection that you have with someone else's authentic self and you being your authentic self. Man, the avenue to intimacy is communication. Yeah. Like you can't resolve relational conflict without communication. You can't parent well without communication. Like everything, when I say everything is impacted by communication. If you coach a sports team, you got to communicate. You got to speak before the game. You got to speak during the game. You got to speak after the game. If you're leading a team, right? If you're in management, then you got to communicate. You got to talk to those that are on your upline. You got to talk to those that are in your downline. You got to talk to your peers. You got to cast vision. You got to give correction. You got to give direction. It's words. Everything is impacted by this skill of communication. But this is what I learned. And this is a bit baffling for me. I've learned that although this is one of the most important skills anybody in any industry can develop, it is one of the least emphasized. Guys, listen to me. Listen to me. I am called to add value to people through the instrument of ministry, but also through conventional avenues of ministry, but also ministry in the marketplace through entrepreneurship. And I am telling you, I am in masterminds and mentorship groups and things of that nature where people are being trained and mentored to do all types of things that cannot be done well without the skill of speaking. People are being trained, hey, this is how you create a course. This is how you market a course. This is how you sell a course. This is how you create a lead magnet for a course. But here's the thing about a course. You've got to speak. So we can create lead magnets and we can strategize and we can outline, but you've got to speak. So teaching is speaking. Listen to this. Okay, listen to this, guys. Hey, no judgment, just observations. No judgment, just observations. Maybe some of you had some experiences like me, where I remember sitting in school, sitting in classes with certain professors or teachers that were just incredibly bright, brilliant, genius. Yet I was disinterested and disengaged, and that wasn't just because I had a short attention span and was interested in other things. It was because they were knowledgeable, but not skilled in actually communicating the knowledge. It would be like monotone and no storytelling and no engagement. It's just like, sometimes I'd be sitting in class like, oh my God, this is agony. I'm suffering. Their ability to acquire information changes their life, but their ability to communicate it is what changes others. Did you hear what I just said? Their ability to acquire information changes their life, but your ability to communicate it is what changes others. So I think we need less emphasis on strategy and structure and more emphasis on the skill, speaking. Because that is actually going to deliver whatever value you have up here. Speaking is the way you get it out there. Now, this is what some people, when they hear speaking, they think keynoting. And yeah, that may be for some, but most people won't keynote. But everybody's going to have to speak. If you're, like I said before, if you're selling, you're speaking. Right? You might be watching and say, no, Dharius, I'm an author. I do writing. Well, how are people going to find out about the book? Like when you release a book, you're going to have to market the book in some way. Like at some point, even if you don't talk a lot, at some point, you're going to have to talk about the book. We can't get around this skill. So what I want to do really quickly is I just want to share with you just kind of 4 tips to becoming better at speaking. These are things that I've learned. I've been speaking publicly for a very long time. Almost 25 years, guys. And so I just want to share with you 4 things that I've learned in over 25 years of doing this, that if you put these 4 things into practice, it's going to help you become a better speaker. Now, I'm sharing with you some of the things that we actually train people in a program that I have called TCP. It's a transformational certification program where we actually teach and mentor people on the skill, and some people pick the skill of coaching, which is another skill that I think is right under speaking that most people don't understand. They're like, I don't want to be a life coach, or I don't want to be a business coach. No, I'm not talking about the business of coaching. We help people build that, but I'm talking about the skill of it, because you can use the skill of it as a parent. If you have teenage children or adult children, then your primary method, your primary avenue for influence with them is going to be coaching. Especially if they're grown adult children. Like the way you could demand something at 3, you can't do that at 30. So you have to learn the skill of coaching. Anyway, here's the point. So what I'm about to share with you is something that we teach in that transformational certification program, where we train and certify coaches, and we train and certify people in the area of speaking. We call it transformational speaking. So we help people learn how to deliver transformations utilizing the skill of speaking, whether that is speaking in small, intimate settings, whether that is speaking on camera, whether that is speaking on webinars, master classes, or what we call virtual stages, or whether that is speaking on physical stages, right? So we just train people on the gambit of it, whether it's a course or a coaching group. We just train people on the gambit of it, and train them and certify them, and For those that feel called to it, teach them kind of how to build a business around it. So I'm going to share with you some 4 things that we train people on in that program. And I'm going to go through them really quickly for you. Here's the first thing, confidence. An unconfident communicator is an ineffective one. And unconfident, to do anything right, you got to have mindset, skill set, toolkit, and the mindset is first, and it is confidence. Dharius, how do I get my confidence up? You're going to need 3 things. You're going to need consistency. So that means you got to do reps. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it over and over and over and over and over again, right? I don't have an audience. Well, you don't want to practice with an audience. It's like, I only have myself. That's great. You want to practice by yourself first, right? So you need... So you need consistency. Next thing is you need a community. I think you need to be around people that are actually trying to improve that gift also. And so that community is going to help you with your confidence. And then I think you need a coach because you're going to need, you can't grade yourself. You can practice by yourself, but you can't grade yourself, you know? And so for anybody to grow in the area of confidence, they're going to need a coach who can give them feedback so that they're not ambiguous and wondering, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Etc. All right. So confidence is number 1, man. I think that's so key. And then here's the second one, clarity. And when I say clarity, it's this. It's you being clear on what kind of speaker am I? So you might be listening to me speak and you might be like, I can't speak like that, or I don't want to speak like that, or me. That's not me. And so all of us have speaking styles. Now, there are best practices that apply to whatever your style is, but it's important to be clear on what's my style? What's my personality? If I am more of a conversationalist, how can I lean into that even if I'm keynoting? How can I make it feel like if there are 1,000 people in the room, if I'm a conversationalist, how can I make the one person in the room feel like I'm talking just to them? Clarity. All right, here's the third one, competence. What's a competence? That's a learned ability. That's a skill, right? So to become better, I need to learn skills, right? To become better. Frameworks, like if I'm speaking, how do I start something off? If I'm keynoting, there's like speaker frameworks that we actually teach people on keynoting. And so there are tactics and skills that are best practices that will aid and assist you in being just better. And then last but not least is conviction. That's the 4th one. It means that I wouldn't talk about anything that I don't feel strongly about. Because without conviction, you can't be convincing. All right. I'm going to ask you to do one thing. If this helped you, just share it with somebody else, man. I want as many people as possible to be better speakers. Take care.